What's good, my tribe? This is day 59 of the 90-day YouTube challenge. Last night I had a pretty deep meditation session, and I've just been contemplating and thinking a lot about sort of the way things are in this world and life in general. And it got me thinking the Soma breath that I teach is all about envisioning your average perfect day, and a lot of the sort of self-development, self-help world, health and wellness, spiritual path, all of these things, they sort of have this sort of fundamental assertion that the world isn't as we want it to be. This is something that we are all, I think, kind of awakening to, this fact that there are a lot of atrocities in the world, lots of corruption, lots of things that we don't like. And this seems to have been true for all of human history. And it's maybe not something new. Perhaps it's gotten to a whole new level in recent times, especially since we have seen sort of an increase of technology in our networks, being able to kind of communicate more quickly across larger distances. So we have a very interconnected world now. We're able to kind of bring to light some of these atrocities and really communicate and talk about them. And so something that's always been in my own life is this sense, this need to kind of change the world. The quote, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world," by Gandhi has always been something that's been very dear and close to my heart. And yeah, I mean, it's certainly no small task to really change the world, which is why we always say you should just start with yourself, start with the things that you can change. And I've personally done a lot in my own life to try to change my own habits, my own thoughts, my own behaviors, to better align with what I feel is my sort of core beliefs about life and reality in itself. And some of the things I keep coming up against is this notion that I have done, probably, we can all change and we can all continue to improve our lives, but I do feel like I have done a significant amount to change my own life, but yet there still seems to be these changes that need to happen on a larger scale in our society, in our culture at large. And I've been thinking, well, okay, well, what does that mean? What is it that I really want? What kind of world do I want to live in? And I've been really trying to envision on what that world would look like. I mean, I don't necessarily expect there to be some sort of utopia, but it is a really interesting exercise to just really contemplate and think about, how, if you could have a sort of perfect life here on Earth, not just for yourself, but for the society and the culture at large, what would that look like? And perfect is a loaded term, so maybe not perfect, but a more ideal culture and society. So it got me thinking, well, what is it that I want? Well, I really want freedom. I want to be able to kind of spend my time however I want to, which is, I am very fortunate enough to be able to pretty much do that now, thanks to the life that I've been living and the things that I've been involved with. So I'm super grateful for that. But I would like that for everyone. What if we all had the spare time to really take the time to rest and reflect whenever we need to go deep, to spend times with friends and family, instead of continually kind of working, feeding this sort of machine, which is what a lot of people are doing here on this planet. So freedom, being able to kind of spend time, responsibility to nature, I think, is another big one. If we all really understood how we are a part of the ecosystem, we are not separate from nature, we are nature, and therefore we have a responsibility to be stewards of the earth, to help um, build and harmonize along with her rather than on top of her and exploit nature for its resources. So permaculture is a big thing that I've been into, and I think the permaculture ethic and permaculture principles are really important for us as humans to start really integrating into our society. Um, I think it would be amazing if we had a better a governance system that did not rely on sort of a two-party system, which is mostly what we have here in America and many other places as well, and one that's less tied up with the financial system. I think we all are all aware that governments are very tied into these large corporations, and all of that is also tied into media and big oil, big pharma. All of these sort of very large conglomerates and organizations are tied up in our governance systems. So a more democratic system of governance where we actually can really talk about the issues. Yesterday I was talking about John Vervaeke's dialogos circling. So what if we brought that sort of concept into our governance system and we had a really in-depth dialogue between the people who made these decisions? What if we had a much more democratic circling as a way to, really get to the core of the problems of humanity and really come up with these solutions? So a change in our governance is something that's very important to me. I would say cryptocurrency for sure is another big step into kind of transforming our financial systems away from this sort of fiat system that we have now, which we all know is no longer even tied to anything really concrete. And so a resource-based economy is something I think we need to really start looking at, as our economy and our social systems at large are really embedded in this larger system of the ecosystem. And so we do have a finite amount of resources on this planet, which is something that we don't like to think about, but it's the reality of the situation. So if we really start to integrate our economy into our resources and the natural environment, I think that'll give us a better sort of system to work with, at least on the basic foundational levels. So resource-based economies, cryptocurrencies, local currencies that are used by local communities, which may tie into larger currencies for like a world currency. Using these methods of decentralized finance that are coming out, we can really create a sustainable income for everybody. We can really get rid of this income inequality, perhaps through some sort of universal basic income based off of the generation of cryptocurrencies, having that tied into a sort of natural resource-based economy, and of course limiting, having a cap, I think, is really important, because the biggest part about this wealth inequality is how we have all these billionaires and trillionaires who are able to accumulate all this wealth, and we have some people who are still barely affording to do anything, and the system of debt is just absurd. And we all know this. It's just, what is it going to look like if we were to kind of move beyond this and get beyond this? So yeah, I think it's important to also think about our children, how we are raising our children. We all know that the school systems are kind of absurd at this point. Even, higher education is basically a scam. So transforming our education system on a fundamental level, perhaps incorporating permaculture principles so kids grow up knowing how important it is to have a responsible relationship with the natural world. You know, I think that's going to be primary, as well as how to take care of themselves, you know, how to take care of our body, how to eat properly, how to exercise properly. You know, breath work, meditation, all these things I think should be integrated into our education system. Yeah. So these are just kind of the ideas that have been floating around in my head, and stuff that I wanted to kind of just talk about, to share, express, and get the conversation flowing, the dialogos moving. So if anybody wants to respond to this, share what they wish to see in the world, the systems that they wish to see, you know, solutions that they might be thinking about, you know, feel free to comment, to respond to this video, do whatever you want. I would love to hear these ideas be talked about more, and yeah, perhaps come to a coherent plan that we can actually have and implement. So yeah, I think I'm complete for today. So I appreciate you for listening. Thank you so much. With love and light, as always, may peace be with you.